Well, hello, welcome to spring camping in Minnesota. What's that you say? Looks more like winter to you? Well, it is March 26th, so I can assure you it is spring. However, here in Minnesota, the seasons don't pay any attention to the calendar. Least of all to some silly rodent who's afraid of his own shadow. So yeah, it's spring by the calendar, if not by the weather. And I'm here on another camping trip. This time I'm camped in Maplewood State Park, the far west central part of the state. Never been to this park before. I was looking around for a place, a campground, state park, whatever, the head campgrounds that were open this time of year. Most of them don't open until April 1st at the earliest. I found this one. However, had a little bit of a mix-up when I first started looking at coming to this park. According to the reservation site, all the campgrounds were open for the whole winter. Except for this one here, there was only one loop that was open. They have 4 campgrounds. And like I said, according to the website, all 4 were open. Some of them you had to hike into. You couldn't drive, the roads weren't going to be plowed. But that was okay. I brought my trusty toboggan along. Anyway, when you reserve a campsite, if you reserve it in advance, there's a reservation fee. Can't remember how much it is, $8 or something like that. But me being cheap and knowing that these campsites weren't going to be getting a lot of use, so reserving early was not a problem. If you reserve on the day that you're going to arrive, there's no reservation fee. So I waited. I kind of watched things a little bit. But along the way, they changed the reservation site. And this morning when I went to reserve, it told me, even though the verbiage still said all the campsites were open year-round, all that it would let me reserve was on this little loop here. And I had been kind of looking forward to tobogganing in to some spot, making it more of a wilderness trip. And so I was kind of disappointed about that. And then on top of that, all these sites in this loop are electric sites. So instead of being $17 a night, they're $25 a night. So I decided not to even make a reservation, but just show up and see what the situation is. So I arrived at the park at about 2:45. The office was closed, but there was a sign in the window saying they'd be back in about 3 o'clock or so. So I waited around until 3, and sure enough, about 3 o'clock, a very, very friendly ranger shows up, asked me what I was looking for. I told him, and he said, yeah, I could, the campground I wanted to go to wasn't officially open until the 1st, which is next Sunday, Easter Sunday. but that I could camp there if I wanted to. But it'd be about a 3/4 of a mile hike in from the closest that he'd be able to get to for plowing. So he kind of talked me into staying at this campground here. Said that he would give me the electric site for the non-electric price. So that was good. So it was getting kind of late by then anyway. And so it's like it would have taken me a couple trips to get everything in on the toboggan. And so I decided having a drive-in site was going to work just fine. The chances of anybody else being here any of the days that I'm here are pretty slim. I'm going to be here for 4 nights, so I'm pulling up stakes on Friday. So yeah, I decided I would camp here instead of over there. It's not as exciting getting in, but well, I don't need excitement all the time. After my January trip, which was to J. Cook State Park, I really wanted to get another winter trip in, but it just didn't happen for me in February like I initially wanted it to. So I kind of got postponed on that. Never ever dreamed that I'd be going on a winter trip at the end of March. But here I am. It is supposed to warm up. It's supposed to be like in the 40s tomorrow. In fact, the overnight low tomorrow night is supposed to be above freezing. So it is temperature-wise more like a spring trip than a winter trip, regardless of all the snow. I'm not sure how much they got today, but they were supposed to get up to 5 inches of snow today, 5 or 6 inches. I don't know how much was on the ground to start with, but yeah, I'd say there's probably a good 3 to 4 inches anyway. So yeah, well, I'm going to finish getting my sleeping quarters taken care of here. In my second trip with my new Eureka Mountain Pass 2 XTE tent. What I've done so far, I put I've got a nylon ground cloth under here. I've got, I don't know if you can see this or not, and I know I'm jiggling you. Space blanket on top of that, my thermarest on top of that. I'm going to be pulling a blanket out of the car, put on top of my thermarest, and then I have my 15-degree sleeping bag with me, and just in case I have my Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner, and a couple of extra blankets in the car if I really need it. The last night I'm here, it is supposed to get down to about 14 degrees Fahrenheit. At that, and my 15-degree bag does not get me quite as low as the 15 degrees that it's rated for. So I have a feeling that last night I'm going to end up using the liner. First couple of nights I'm going to be kind of warm. Of course, on my last trip, my January trip, I introduced you to my new tent, my Eureka Mountain Pass 2 XTE tent. I realized afterwards I never really, I showed you what I liked about it to start with when I first set it up, but I never gave a final recommendation, whatever, on it. So definitely a thumbs up from Newbie Box. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The fly could be a little bit easier to set up. Be nice if the fly pole, or the fly rod as Eureka calls it, actually attached to the tent and you stretch the fly over it like some of the other designs. But this is a slightly older design. In fact, actually it's now been discontinued. So yeah, I'm one step behind technology because I'm cheap. So anyway, so nice and peaceful and quiet here. Just that light snow that's falling. I don't know if it's really snow or sleet. It's funny, it's not snowflakes, it's snow shards. They're all, it's like little tiny grains of rice. I was going to show you earlier, but they're, because they were sticking to the tent, but now they're starting to melt on contact, so not so much to show you anymore. But anyway, beautiful sight here. That direction there over the lake is west. Tomorrow is supposed to be a real nice sunny day, so hopefully I can get some nice shots over that way. I'm going to do a little bit of driving and hiking around the park, see what I can find. Anticipating a really nice time here. Like, you know, we've got the snow today. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow, especially in the afternoon tomorrow. Wednesday we got a chance of either snow showers or snow flurries or maybe even a rain shower in the morning, and then it's supposed to be cloudy all day. But then Thursday is supposed to start out sunny and cloud up later on. At least that's the current forecast, and you know how the forecast goes around here. One day at a time. At least they got the snow right today. Nice thing is, it's one of those nice wet snows that you really dread if you have to shovel it, but it really sticks to the trees and makes everything look like a winter wonderland. If we can get some sun tomorrow before the snow melts off the trees, I ought to be able to get some really nice pictures. My kind of day. So anyway, I gotta get going here. It's almost supper time, so I'm gonna get supper going. I did get some wood, and sunset isn't until something like 7:15, if I remember rightly. So should have time to have supper, get it cleaned up, get some wood processed. I got 4 bundles, but I'll do 1 bundle at a time. And have a little bit of fire tonight, and see how the wood lasts, and see how it goes. Okay, there's supper tonight. Ta-da! I'm having basically pasta side, stroganoff, beef stroganoff. It's our local store's Hy-Vee store knockoff of the Knorr pasta side, so hopefully it'll work out okay. And in that, our local Silver Lake food store had some, well, you can't see really what it is here. You see the M&S on there though. Had some mushroom and Swiss hamburger patties, ground beef patties. So I figured one of those patties would go fantastically in with my stroganoff. So that's what I'm going to have tonight. Oh, something else I didn't give a thumbs up to after my last trip, and that was the introduction of my new cook set. It gets a thumbs up too. Now apparently MSR has one that looks identical to this. This is actually Ozark Trail, which is the brand, the Walmart brand, or the brand that you find in Walmart, but it seems to be working well. Now, it says to put 1.5 cups of water, pretty full. One and a half, close enough. 1.5 cup milk. And I got 1% milk. Half cup of milk. Now it says a tablespoon of margarine or butter. But what I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using some olive oil instead of margarine or butter. I managed to find this small plastic bottle of olive oil in IV. So 1 tablespoon of that. So last time, the first night, I ended up with my pot boiling over on me, which really made a heck of a mess. So tonight, I'm going to watch it carefully. Hopefully the watch pot will still boil, just not boil over. And while that's boiling, I'm breaking the hamburger, mushroom and Swiss burger up a bit. I pre-cooked the hamburger at home, like I did last time, so I don't have to worry about doing that here. Okay, I caught it just before it boiled over. Stir in the pasta. Stir in the meat. It's got to go for about 8 minutes now, and it's right at 5:30. Oh. Didn't mean for that to happen. Waited the 2 or 3 minutes. I've decided to eat it straight out of the pot this time, instead of dirtying a dish. Here we go. Look at that. Smell that. Mmm. Mmm, hot. Taste that. Mmm, that's good. Good, 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 good. Mmm. Mmm, good. Mmm. This is hitting the spot, I can tell you. So, no, I'm not going to make you watch me eat the whole thing. So I'll talk to you after I'm done. Nice dry birch bark that I collected on another trip. I don't know how long this bundle of wood is going to last. I think I'm going to have to start on a second bundle tonight. In which case I'll have to get 2 more bundles later on this week. But I have a decent fire going now. That's all the wood I have left of that bundle. So we'll see how things go here. I want to give you a quick channel update here. Like I said, this is the 26th of March. Now, I'm not getting home until Friday, or at least that's the plan, that I'm not getting home until Friday. But we'll see how things go. I may stay shorter time, I may stay longer. But in any case, the plan is to stay until Friday. By the time you're seeing this, you will have seen that I scheduled part 4 of my August Boundary Waters trip to go public the evening of this Friday. I guess that would be the 30th. Yep, that's the 30th. So that's part 4 is going public then, whether I'm home or not. So by the time I get home, get this video edited and all the rest of it, you will at least have seen that video. I also have part 5 done. I got 5 done just before I came on this trip. So it's all ready to go. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do this trip I'm currently on before I go back to the the boundary water strip. I know a lot of you really prefer the boundary water strips, but my feeling is on these winter trips is I gotta try to get them out as soon as possible. Nobody likes to see them in the summer, and rehashing them early next fall. That's when I'll be uploading this year's summer picture videos. So not sure how many videos this will be. Like I said, it's going to be a 4-night, 5-day trip, but I may not do a complete video each day. I might combine days a little bit. Depends on how things go, what I find to shoot, etc., etc. But anyway, that's where things are. Unfortunately, also once I get back, the month of April is going to be super busy for me. So I'm not even sure how frequently I'm going to be able to edit these videos, let alone the Boundary Waters ones. So I may end up going ahead and showing part 5 before I show any of this. I don't know. I'm just going to have to play it by ear, see what kind of time I have for editing once I get back home. But I'll at least try to get this video up soon after for the update and the introduction to Maplewood State Park. My August boundary water trip ended up being 10 days. I think I said at the start I was planning about 14 or 15 days, but it ended up being 10 days. And I'll let the videos tell you why it ended up being 10 days. After the 5th day is when things started kind of going downhill on me. So after that, I wasn't taking a lot of video. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be a full 5 more segments, unless they're short segments, but I might start combining days on that one. Boy, it's so nice here. And I basically have the park all to myself. I'm definitely the only one camping here. How cool is that? A little bit about what's been going on in my life. You might recall that just before Christmas, I took a trip out east to visit family and friends. I got that one little video of me on the Sassafras Trail at Jenny Wiley State Park in Kentucky. Other than that, I didn't get any video. It's about the time I got home from that, which was just before Christmas, that I started getting horrible dry mouth. A terrible case of dry mouth. With the dry mouth, I was drinking a lot. And of course, what comes in must go out. So yes, I was also peeing a lot. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Being as that was about the height of the flu epidemic, I really didn't want to go in and see a doctor and catch the flu. So I tried a few different things for a couple of months, trying to see if I could get rid of the dry mouth. And of course, I was drinking a lot, and I was peeing a lot, and I was drinking a lot, and I was just getting drier and drier and drier. A lot of things I couldn't eat because my mouth was just so dry I couldn't chew them. Actually, when I was on my January trip, I was in the middle of all this going on. I tried not to let on that was happening. And actually, while I was on that trip, things got a little bit better. But almost as soon as I got home, it all started up again. Just before I went on that camping trip, I went into a quick care place and had it all checked out and everything, and the guy couldn't figure out anything that it could be. He advised me to go and see my doctor at my earliest convenience, Well, then I went on that trip the following week, so I couldn't get into the doctor then. Like I said, things got better while I was on that trip. So then I waited a couple more weeks, got bad again. So finally, I think it was February 8th, if I remember right, I went in to see a doctor. I got an appointment real quick, and he didn't look me over very long, and he told me I had diabetes. They did a blood test right then. I went home. Later on that evening, I got a call from a nurse at the clinic, who turns out to be my care coordinator now. Told me to go to the emergency room immediately, have somebody else drive me there if possible, and that there was a doctor already had been clued in as to what's going on and was waiting for me to arrive. So I went in, they hooked me up to an IV, they pumped me full of insulin for a couple hours. They told me when I went in my blood sugar was 669. They got it down to 300. They gave me some metformin, diabetes pills, and discharged me. As you can well imagine, that was a big shock. Last thing I ever thought I would be getting is diabetes, because diabetes does not run in my family that I know of. Anyway, then they, like I said, they discharged me. No information on what I was supposed to do or anything else. The doctor said that he'd be getting a hold of me the next morning. The doctor from the clinic, not from the hospital. So I waited around for a while in the morning, and I couldn't, and he never called, so I tried calling him. He was busy with appointments until Thursday. So I made an appointment with him for that following Thursday. This all started on a Thursday, by the way, so that was a week later. And managed to get a hold of my care coordinator, so she gave me some pointers on what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, and all the rest of it. Finally got in to see the doctor, and he told me at that time that he'd be happy if I got my glucose down to 250. I was still on the medication that they'd given me in the hospital. He prescribed more of the same. What they gave me in the hospital, they had me taking one tablet twice a day. He upped the ante to 2 tablets twice a day. Like I said, he said he'd be happy if I got down to 250. Well, I had another blood test after I left him, and I was already down to 290 at that time. So, got into a diet, an exercise routine. I kept taking the metformin, and I started testing my blood on a daily basis, actually twice a day to start with. And gradually the numbers came down and down and down. Got some education, saw a nutritionist, went back to see the doctor about 3 weeks after that second visit with him, and he was extremely happy with my progress, because most of my readings at that time were now below 150, let alone 250, and they've been going down since then. In fact, most of the time the last week or so they've been in the 120s. I actually had a 96 this morning before I came on my trip. So the numbers are coming down. It's been a change of life for me for what I'm eating, the diet. Not so much what I'm eating, but how much and when. So breakfasts especially and suppers aren't quite as big as what they used to be. Suppers especially I am snacking between meals, but most of the time it's fruit. And I'm also watching the quantities. So when I have a supper, I don't go back for seconds. Trying to eat a balanced meal as much as possible, that type of thing. Also been going out and exercising at least half an hour most days of the week. Most of the time taking a half-hour walk. And so I appear to have things under control at the moment. Now there are actually some positive things that have come out of this. First positive thing was, during all that time that I was having all the dry mouth and the urination and all the rest of it, I lost about 25 pounds. Not a good way to lose 25 pounds, but I lost 25 pounds. It was partly because my body couldn't use the nutrients that I was giving it. I was basically peeing them away. Partly, like I said, I couldn't eat much because most things that I tried eating, I just couldn't chew, couldn't swallow. So, all in all, like I said, I lost about 25 pounds. Crash diet. The only thing is, since then, I've been able to keep that weight off. Yay me. And not only that, but I've taken off about another 5 pounds. On top of all that, my blood pressure, which has always been marginal to a little bit on the high side, also came down. Although that's starting to rebound a little bit now, but usually the upper number is in the 120s now, but once in a while it creeps up into 130s and even up into, it sneaks up to 140 once in a while. But most of the time it's in the 120s. So that's goodness. So I'm working on trying to keep that under control. And with all this walking, of course, I'm starting to get a little bit stronger. So I think it's really, in the long run, going to help me, especially on the boundary water strips. I'll have 30 pounds less that I have to carry across those dang portages, for one thing. And with all this exercise leading up to it, like I said, I should be stronger. So it was a big wake-up call, but all in all, things are looking promising and looking up. When I went back in to see the doctor on that third visit, he said he thought for sure I was going to end up on insulin after the first time he saw me because of the way I looked and what was happening. So he's very happy. He was very surprised that my glucose is down where it is. So yeah, it's been a long, what, 3 months now. So because all that was going on in February and I was having all those appointments with the doctor and the nutritionist and the educator and trying to get things under control and everything, that's why I didn't get out on a February trip. So this trip is kind of an experiment to see how it goes. When I talked to the nutritionist, I talked to her specifically about camping trips, what to eat, what not to eat, and all the rest of it. And she basically said that she didn't see any problem with me going off my diet for 1 or 2 weeks at a time while I was on these trips. For one thing, I'm burning more calories, therefore taking in more calories is not going to be the worst thing that happens, as long as I get right back on the wagon again when I get back home. But I am kind of watching it. Like I said, while I prepared my meal, I was using 1% milk today instead of 2% like I used to. And I also was, that's why I would use the olive oil instead of using butter. And of course, in general, I'm trying to keep up with the snacks between meals, trying to keep the glucose levels level instead of doing a lot of ups and downs, stuff like that. So, brought a lot of fruit with me to eat. I brought fresh fruit. I brought fruit cups. Brought some Jello. Brought some applesauce. Brought a whole bunch of stuff to snack on. So about every 2 or 3 hours I'm supposed to have something to eat, and if I feel a little bit like I'm crashing a little bit, eat then too. So yeah, gonna see how this goes. If it doesn't go well, that might be one reason that I might pull out of here early. But I gotta tell you, already today I've had a couple of times where I've had to sit down because I just been feeling kind of lightheaded. So hopefully my body catches up to what I'm doing and this works out. So now you know the story. Don't know if I'll do any more video tonight. If I don't, I'll talk to you in the morning. Good night. As you can see, hopefully, if I have the light pointed the right way, I'm in my tent in my sleeping bag. It's I just checked this 2 minutes ago. It's about 10:30. About 10:30. It's been a long day. I got up early. Had about a 4.5 hour drive. The last part of the drive was in sleet and snow, so not the best conditions in the world. And of course then I set up camp and all the rest of it. So it's been a long, tiring day. So, but it went okay. It did start getting extra cold at one time after most of my work was done, and I was waiting for, I think it was when I was waiting for supper. It was getting kind of cold. I came in the tent and I put on a couple extra layers, and then it was fine after that. So anyway, the low tonight is supposed to be only down to about 28 or so. 28, that would be for about 8 degrees below 0 Celsius. I think I did that right. Yep, I think I did that right. Anyway, I have a 15-degree sleeping bag, and I have some fairly warm jammies on, so I may just end up roasting to death, but rather that than freezing to death. So that's about all I have to say. I did burn up 1.5 bundles of wood, so for all 4 nights, that means I'm going to have to get two more bundles before the trip is over. Bundle and a half each night seems to be a good amount. So I think I'm going to snuggle down into my sleeping bag and